Hello and welcome to Ginger Prime. My name is Brian, and if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, Soul Nation. For watching today's video, you've unlocked the title of Unstoppable. Use that wisely in your online internet discussions. However, today I want to address something that's showing up on Reddit and a question that I see a lot of people asking in the comments below, and it's, is Outriders a games as a service? And I want to start right at the top of this video and say that I kind of believe that there are two types of games as a service. There's the type that generally I see a lot of people rage against or be concerned about, and I would call those a greed as a service, as opposed to something that's a little bit more balanced, a little bit more delivers a lot of content for and a lot of value proposition, which I would say is at its heart the true games as a service. As a longtime player of these games for 5 and 10 years plus that have a steady flow of content without essentially feeling like they're going through my pocket. Maybe it's more of an idealistic view that I have of games themselves, but I want to say that there's a clear distinction, and often more than not, the greeds as a service tend to win out because, let's just face it, that's unfortunately the state of the world sometimes. So I want to address that question because Reddit user Cryptic Cult, and I'll include a link in the description, posts that it says no microtransactions, then would this be a placeholder? I'm just wondering. And if you actually look a screen cap of the site saying, obviously mature 17, users interact, in-game purchases, and then a star contains in-app purchases, or the word contains rather than contains. Anyway. All right. So if we look at that phrasing, this kind of seemingly at first goes against what they have stated before. They continue to reaffirm no microtransactions. But rather than just kind of share my words on it, I'm going to show you guys a quote from the recent broadcast talking about why this is more from a legal perspective that they're offering, because they're offering a pre-order bonus for different like cosmetics that they will be able to sell you later if you choose.
I did say content pack, hear me out. So we have always maintained that Outriders is a complete experience in the game. You don't pay any microtransactions, whether it's items or gear or even the lore, it's all in the game. And that is still true, all right? However, we had to offer up something cool for people who are pre-ordering the game. So if you do pre-order Outriders, you will receive the Hell's Rangers content pack for free. And later down the line, if you didn't pre-order and you feel like you missed out, you can purchase it separately. However, look me in the eye on this one, I wouldn't lie to you. You do not receive any special advantage. You don't get a special ability. It's not pay to win.
Okay, so now that we're all caught up on what the Outriders team is saying and what is being delivered, I think there is room to discuss this concept as a games as a service, because not all principles of a games as a service is bad, especially coming from my perspective as somebody who plays a lot of MMO RPGs and online multiplayer RPGs in this case. I think essentially at its core, and I've said this in a couple other videos, I'm going to reaffirm it here today, I think if successful, Outriders is going to be a Trojan horse for a games as a service, meaning here is a full-fledged RPG, and I could see that over the course of its life that we'll see expansions delivered onto the community, especially if there's a hungry community clamoring for this game and clamoring for more content. A lot of concern I've seen raised in the comments tends to be like, well, what happens after I've beaten all the expeditions? What happens next? And they haven't spoken to that. And so they're continuing to market this game as a non-games as a service, as something that you can play, you can beat, and you can go about your day. And that in itself, we see kind of the community having some friction in this case, as I rub my hands into the microphone for a sound effect, apparently. So here's where I think that we're going to see this go. Like I said, if successful, I can see Outriders transitioning into a steady flow of content for us. Now, I think that all is going to come down to the value proposition of the games itself. I have no problem at a core with the fundamental principle of what an MTX is. An optional piece of content that if you would like to purchase it, you can. But where this becomes a greeds as a service is it comes down into, well, would they have offered that as a part of the game anyway? And this is the real key distinction. This is the real key principle here. And I think this is what needs to be explored within gaming, discussion and dialogue. If Outriders comes out, no MTX, let's just, not count this content pack as MTX. Let's just say, hey, pre-order bonus. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. They can establish a level of trust and content so that later we can measure it if it changes. And so let's say we get just an incredible game. You're putting in 100 hours, 1,000 hours, and you're just in love with Outriders. And then they say, hey, here's the next expansion. And you just go and you eat it up and you enjoy it. And then later they say, you know what, we want to bring more content at a faster pace rather than having to wait 6 months or a year for content drops. So in order to do that, we're going to create, more additional content. We can then look at the content that is delivered compared to the content that is purchased as just separate, glamour items, separate, cosmetics. And we've seen this happen in games. So I'm not sitting here saying like it can't go bad real fast. I think there's a clear temptation, especially from publishers, to say, oh, people are willing to pay for it. Let's not make it unlockable. Let's not make it something earnable in game. Let's make it something that they have to open up their wallets if they want to get a hold of. Now, that is the risk. That is always going to be the danger with any game as a service. And again, to be clear, Outriders is not launching as one, is not being marketed as one, and it's just going to be a matter of, I think, helping to establish the level of trust that we want to have in the game itself. I think that's the real key differentiator. If the game doesn't necessarily take off, if it just has it can end up being what it is without overpromising the future. Like if we look at past games that continue to promise a steady flow of content, you're never going to be bored in this game, it always kind of feels like that's the promise that is made in the hopes that they're going to get this huge community around the game itself, and then it ultimately doesn't end up kind of panning out. All right, so that brings us kind of to the final thought in this video that I want to share with you, and as always, I'd love to know your thoughts here in the comments. First and foremost, the question is, what do you get? And in this case, if we go and just out of the website, you can kind of see here, they've got a couple things. It's the Hell Rangers pack. You get the male and female gear sets. You get the arsenal of 11 unique guns. You get the Hell Rangers truck mods and decals. Now, the truck doesn't have anything. The guns are, in this case, skins of weapons and things like that. So there is no pay to win, no power to say. This is just a pre-order bonus. And in fact, by far, it is always an intrigue perspective. Like if you were going to ask me, Brian, should I pre-order this game? I would say no, wait till at least the demo on February 25th and go hands on with it before you decide to make that decision. Now I'm going to treat you like an adult. It's your money. I'm not here to tell you how to spend it and where to spend it, but just note that I will be pre-ordering this game. I'm very excited about the release of Outriders, and the fact that I'm just going to get this Hell Rangers content pack for free doesn't necessarily change my decision. I think this is artificially, done to generate hype in gamers and get it going. So I always just kind of say all right, pre-order, don't pre-order. It's really up to you. Are you willing to risk the money on it? And that's the concept that all of this comes down into. I think, people may fly, people can't fly. They ultimately have putting out a demo that will allow you to play this game and experience it for yourself. And then your progress carries forward into the main game. It is all very gamer first. And I'm a very big gamer first person. If a games as a service is gamer first, that is content first, and then essentially the game, I think gamers want to support games that they love. And so if MTX feels like it's going through your pockets, your gamers, I think, kind of feel bad. Like it's just there's a bad relationship there. That's where it goes into the greeds as a service as opposed to the game. But if it's games as a service, is gamer first, then I think gamers are absolutely happy to open up their wallets and support games so that more of the content can roll out. It just is going to be a difficult balance within RPGs because there is an inherent nature to the game design itself that is all about giving you rewards for time invested, not money invested. And that's why I think that this is going to be a really good transition to see if it is that Trojan horse into the games as a service. We'll have a steady flow of content that we can measure, that if they're sitting here all of a sudden coming out with things that you do feel odd, we can compare it to what we've already received. But if they do transition into a games as a service down the road, we can sit back and say, oh, we're actually getting more content for the same price, same kind of buy-in. This is actually working out. It's very gamer first in that regard. Anyway, those are my thoughts, and as always, I'd love to hear yours. I do want to say, Avent Knight, thank you so much, making the top comment from the previous video talking about could Microsoft buy Square Enix and Nintendo today, saying, if we keep getting Avengers-like decisions, and then cowboy hat, smiley face. Obviously, in regards of Square Enix, if they keep making massive decisions, would they be acquired? Ultimately, we don't know, but it's thank you very much, Avent Knight, for the being, and congratulations on making this video's top comment of the day. Also, I want to say welcome to all our new members. Thank you so much, Tyler R., for hitting that join button and helping support the Diaper Fund, as well as all our current members here on the channel. You can see their awesome names over here on the left-hand side. With that, I am going to wish you all the best. Enjoy your new title. I really hope you enjoyed this video. And if you feel like I earned it, I hope you hit that subscribe button. Check out the other content. You can always unsubscribe later. No judgment whatsoever. But for Ginger Prime, my name's Brian. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope you see you again in the next video. But until then, take care. This video is sponsored by me, Ginger Prime. Hopefully you'll check out my podcast channel, Ginger Gaming Radio, which we have lots of guests, lots of great conversations, and even more highlights. Links are in the description below. Let me know what you think. Thanks.